Alrighty, peeps. We're here today with the lovely Miss Lauren Shugarts. Welcome to the A Legend is Born podcast / experience / your opportunity to share a little bit about your journey working with myself, Autumn, and the POG team over the last 9 to 10 months, however long it's been. And how are you feeling today?
I feel great. I actually can't even, I was just thinking that it's almost been a year. That's so wild.
Yeah.
In August, right? It'll be a
The
whole year.
retreat. The retreat will be a year.
Yeah. That's
Perfect
so
time.
wild.
Let's go. Yeah. How do you even just start there then? How does that even feel? Just thinking about that.
Yeah, it's really just thinking about how much growth has happened since last August. Things are just so different in so many different ways. So I think, just reflecting on that has really helped to keep me, humble. And that even especially with me, as I'm sure we'll talk about, my progress was a little bit slower. But when I look back, I'm like, okay, but there's all these other areas that, I've grown so much in. It really is not all just about, the business side of things. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it is, because when you grow and you heal a lot of your own stuff, it comes out to play in your business, which is really cool. So, yeah.
1000%. And we're definitely going to dive into that. Thank you so much for sharing all that.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's crazy to me that it's been almost a year, but it's not at the same time. And I think the thing that you touched on that is the most exciting thing is the the awareness around things outside of just specifically the numbers, not using that as the only measuring stick, because in business, especially in the beginning, and you alluded to this too, the personal wins play out in your business so much, and really giving them their day in court is part of the reason that Leaders of Legends was created. So with that said, first question for you: how would you describe where you were at personally and professionally before the Leaders and the Legends experience?
I think honestly, to sum it up, I just had no idea what the fuck I was doing. I had no clue, especially with my business, I just was like, okay, I have these coaching certifications, but okay, what, where do I go from here? How do I do this? Um, and honestly, still a lot of um, mindset that I had around things that really started to show up with business, a lot of things with money, and a lot of things with, even self-worth, things that I thought that I had healed from were sure enough about to come up through my business. But I think I just had such a completely different mindset around business too, kind of what we were talking about. I think, my goal was just okay, I want to get all these clients and I want to make all this money. And it's now that I'm looking back, it was okay, chill, because there's a lot of stuff we have to do before we get there. So yeah, back then, last year, I would say that there was still some stuff that I had going on that I definitely needed to work through. And I feel like I've come such a long way, just thinking about it, just where my head was at, and what my, even what my intentions were, and what I was looking at as what would be progress, and what I was picturing my business to look like, and what it was supposed to look like. I just had a completely different, I guess, perspective on those types of things. So yeah.
1000%. And my question to you is this: yeah, it sounded like what you were saying was before you were at the beginning, it was at least there were things that I had to work through. Are there any specific things you can remember that you were like, whoa, this showed up right away, and I was like, I thought I was ready for this, but really had the precursor to really excelling in the business is oftentimes us letting go of a lot of the things that we're carrying. And I know you had that great analogy, but maybe this is a great place for you to share that.
Yeah. I think for me, a lot of it, and I'm sure a lot of other people can relate to this too, a lot the money aspect of, I think it's really interesting, because self-worth does show up a lot with money. How you spend it on yourself, and when it comes to business, what you charge, and even going into the program, that was a very scary thing to invest in that for me. And I think a lot of it was just the fact of me questioning, am I worth investing in myself and hiring a coach so that I can grow. And then that definitely showed up and showed me that I had some work to do with, my self-worth and knowing what, just knowing that I was worth investing in myself and investing in, like expanding myself and expanding my business. And then of course it came up, when charging people, like I found myself, just kind of being like, well, maybe I'll just charge this much just to start out, or, maybe I'll just give this person a little bit less, just because I had that scarcity mindset where it's like, well, I just need a client. So like, I'm going to like charge this little amount. But now it's like, no, like I know that I'm worth more than that. And I definitely think that showed up. And also for me, another big one was um, being able to I guess, just trust myself and my decision makings was a huge one. I don't know if you remember, but like the first time we talked, like my big thing was like I always looked for like validation when I was making decisions, especially when it came to money. Like I always wanted somebody to tell me that like it was okay, like that it was okay that I was making this investment. And that was when I kind of started to make that shift and was like, you know what? I'm actually an adult. So I don't have to ask mom or dad. I don't have to ask my boyfriend. I don't have to ask my friends for permission to do this. I am allowed to do this. Like I have, I have the right to do this. So
Like,
that was like a huge one. And like, yeah, I would say that would probably be the biggest one, because obviously that trickled over into other areas, and just like trusting myself to make decisions in other areas of my life too, and kind of just really being intentional when when I ask somebody for advice, if it's validation or if it's just, my intention is to just get somebody else's input. But before, it was really just validation. I just wanted somebody to give me permission to do what I wanted to do, essentially. So,
and now you give yourself permission.
and now I give myself permission.
Has a nice ring to it.
It does. It really does.
We just like blew through that second question, which I was going to ask. How do you feel like you've shifted and changed personally throughout this experience? But I think that it kind of hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd add?
Um, yeah, I would say that honestly, until like fairly recently, I feel like I was really coming from a place of lack when I would want to, or just like have different goals within my business. Like it was always coming from like, okay, I don't have this and I want this. I don't have this yet. And this is what I need. Versus, having that mindset that it's all available to me, it's all coming to me, and just like being myself and letting it flow and letting it come to me and not forcing. And that is something that you talk a lot about too. It took me a while to fully like embody it, I think. Um, just because I think frustration got the best of me sometimes. But I think that was another huge like just shift in like how much happier I am when I'm like in flow and just like not forcing and not, wanting to have control of the timeline. Oh my gosh. Like life is just so much better when you just let it go.
Say that again.
Life is so much better when you just let it go.
Life is so much better when I let it go.
Yes, when I let it go. Life is so much better when I let it go.
Right there. Hey, right? And that automatically plays out in your business, right?
Yeah. And it showed too, because it's interesting, because as soon as I was struggling for a long time with, progressing. And then as soon as I was just like, okay, we're just gonna let it happen. We're just gonna, and then sure enough, people started like flowing in. So yeah,
It's like this. Imagine going fishing and like demanding the fish bite the thing. It's when you relax that they start biting, and it's the same thing.
right. That's so true. It's a good analogy.
There it is. We can keep that one. We'll use that one. When who's listening, that's it right there. Right?
Yeah.
When we go and fish and we're like fish versus
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, now I got a big kahuna. And then you
Right.
catch it, and it's like, yeah. So I love that, Lauren. Thank you for sharing those. So many beautiful things there. My next question to you is, And this goes for, I think, me and Autumn, because you work with us both. So what were a few moments in your coaching with each of us that really stuck out to you? Like really like memorable experiences, memories you have where you're like, what? Like big experiences.
Yeah, so I would say one of them would be when I started collaborating with people. I think a huge moment was like when I just didn't have a lot of confidence and then like reaching out to people and them saying yes. And like just having that the confidence to reach out was like huge because like I would have never done that on my own. Like there's no way I would have ever like branched out and like ask people to be on my podcast or ask people to do an IG live. Like I would have never done that. Like I would have let my fear of like rejection um step in. So I think that was really really cool to, just see like what was possible within that, and to let go of that fear of rejection. It was super, that was really really cool. And it's cool to see now because now it's just so like natural to me, and I'm like thinking backwards like, gosh, I used to be so afraid of this, and now it's so like easy. um and then I would say another one would probably be, honestly, I'm gonna go back to what I was saying earlier when I like finally was like, I'm gonna do this for me. Like I feel like I know it doesn't necessarily have to do with like anything like inside the business, but like I think that was just that just like set the tone for the rest of the time, like the time being. You know what I mean? Like I think that was a huge moment where like you would just ask me like, you're just doing what you want to do, Lauren. Like what? Like you're allowed to do this. You don't need anybody to tell. Like that was like such a pivotal
The
um,
very,
moment. Yeah.
yeah, I remember that very clearly. You're
And I was just like, "Oh, you're right. I can. You're so right. Thank you for letting me know."
right, there it is. So powerful. And like I said, I remember that like it was yesterday, which is funny. I don't know why, but I distinctly remember asking you. I was like, so is anyone else making this decision or is it you? And you're like, it's me. I was like, okay. You want to do it? You're like, yes. I was like, you just let go of having to ask other people permission. There it is, right? So just in the initial and immediate breakthroughs. And I know that plus the collabs and obviously the work that you did in that sector, super powerful. Is there anything else you can think of? Any other like memorable experiences or things that were just like,
Um, I would say I think a lot of the calls where it was just releasing things, um, like different modalities that you've used, where it's just like me with my eyes shut, like going through a lot of things that were on my heart or that I was holding on to. Any type of call that we've done like that, I've always had an instant breakthrough of how, things that I've been through, experiences I had were really shaping my life and my business. I think those calls are always super powerful because the thing that's great about this program is it's not just, like here's a strategy, like go implement it, right? Because like there's so many, it's so much deeper than that. And I think you really do a good job. And I've had so many great experiences where I'm able to release and let go. And I think any type of call we've done like that has been super powerful and super just transforming, honestly. And
oh,
then it's just amazing to like watch it play out. You know what I mean? That's what's really cool about it. I would say that would be another thing that I've just never experienced before. You know what I mean? Like I've never like gotten that deep, with very many people, like deep shit that, we don't, that we just want to avoid and think that we healed from, but we really did, that we really
oh
did
yeah,
it.
all the way in.
Yeah. So I would say like those types of calls were probably the most memorable for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because it sounds like you're saying is that most of the stuff that we focused on was personal stuff that gave you and empowered you to do the business stuff that you kind of wanted to do on your heart versus the stuff that everyone else is telling you should do if you want to be successful.
Right. Exactly.
Interesting. Okay. If anyone's following at home, keep listening, right? Because here it is. So I love that, Lauren. Thank you for sharing that. We went in, yeah, all the way. And I'm talking to a different person than I was a year ago. And it's interesting and powerful and empowering and inspiring and exciting. And it's just a reflection of what's really possible when you really give yourself permission to invest in you and to give your and ready. I'm not even talking about the money. I'm talking about the time, investing the time and actually uncovering why it is you can't do what you want to do. Instead of sitting around fussing or judging why you're not there or judging someone else for being there, giving yourself the time to just work through it, right? And the way to think about it is like just thinking about like instead of judging the way your house looks, just clean it up. But you're gonna have to like scrub the fucking kitchen and you're gonna have to mop the floor and you're gonna have to get the fly swatter out. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we're there, right? You get it. Okay. Um, my next question to you is um, where were you at in your you kind of already mentioned like where you were at in your business beforehand, right? You were like, kind of just started, but maybe like add a little bit more, like where give us some more insight into like where exactly you were at, things that you've gone through, and then where you're at now.
Yeah, so where I was is I basically just had an Instagram account where I was just posting content. Like I wasn't actually I had like I think maybe like 2 or 3 clients at the time. I think like 2 of them were didn't pay anything. Um, but I didn't feel like I was actually coaching. Like I didn't have any guidance on like how to coach, how to, create my own program, how to, attract my clients. Like I had no idea like where to start, what to do. And I was just like frustrated because like I wanted to be a coach and I wanted to have clients, but I just didn't know where to start. Um, so as time went on, I really focused on, my mission and my vision and my values and a lot of the like behind the scenes work, creating my own program, and building up like my followers so that they were my ideal clients. And it took a while for me to get clients. Like I would have people come in every now and then, but then it wouldn't work out. And it was super frustrating. But I think this is just like a game of patience, and obviously there was still some growing that I needed to do before I got what I wanted. But it took a while to actually have people coming in like consistently. Um, Not until like a couple months ago, I started, getting on the phone with people and talking to people more and then getting clients. And I think a lot of it honestly was me just like wanting that control. Like I would get like stress myself out so much and just want to control that timeline. And I think that's what was like holding me back because I was so like frustrated that it was showing up like in my energy. So obviously that's going to turn people off and people can pick up on that. Um, you know, when you're talking on your stories or when you're talking to them and just having that intent, like, okay, I really, really need this client. Like, I hope she says yeah, like just having that constant intent instead of focusing. Oh, another thing, focusing on connecting rather than like that outcome is another big, big perspective shift that I had to learn. Is instead of like getting so attached to that outcome, which I was for a while, just focusing on connecting with people and serving people. And that played a huge role too. And it just all kind of started building on each other. And then sure enough, more people started coming in. Um, and yeah, it's been a journey.
And I think the thing that's so exciting, and this is so important, is like when you first started, like and if you want to share real quick, what was your profession before this?
As a teacher.
Right, a teacher. So no sales experience,
Hmm.
like no like minimal coaching experience, like you said, like no program, like learning how to use social media, like so many things all wrapped up with these beliefs about yourself, with this control thing, right? And the unraveling of that over the last like 10 months has now led you to that place. I just think it's so beautiful that you gave yourself the time and you were patient with yourself. And then the other end that we gave you the time because it's so easy for me to just like shove it down your throat of what you need to do. And so I just want to acknowledge each of us for playing that part, myself, you, and Autumn, all for coming together, teaming up, and creating that space consistently so that you could get good at all those things. And now be in a place where you're like, yeah, I'm confident I can do this. Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
Which I think is like the coolest thing.
Yeah. It's super cool.
Shout out to you, dude.
Thanks.
Testament to your continuous courage and willingness to just continue to grow and expand.
Thank you.
And that leads me to my next question is like, obviously, like now that you've, this is like a ramp and you're moving up, where is the next 6 months taking you, next year, next few years taking you as far as like where you see your business going with the things that you learned and the person you've developed into?
Yeah. So I definitely see myself going full time, 100%. That's going to happen. Um,
Come on, bark. We got to get one bark.
Do I have to?
No, but if you want to, you
No, it's okay.
can.
If it was just a regular one-on-one call, I would.
We make animal noises here, peeps. Let's go.
Definitely going full time, and continuing to, bring in my ideal aligned people and just serving and connecting and helping where I know I can. And, I have a lot of different ideas of how I want to expand, and different projects I want to do that I have in mind that I'm super excited about, like things that probably won't happen for a while, but just a lot of expansion, and just with the intent of genuinely just helping people and just having that as my job is just where I want to be.
Amen to that, dude. Let's go. Right. And that leads me to a couple of things. First thing, I believe 1000% you'll be full time. What a journey it was. And the next few months are going to just reveal that all the work that you put in is just going to continue to pay off and expand and grow. And here's the word: amplify, right? Because the work that you did on yourself has led you to a place where you're confident enough to do all that stuff. And the business stuff just gets easier because you're used to doing it and you feel confident in doing it. So it's so perfect. And your journey, again, like I said, amazing. And that leads me to my next question, which is kind of like a combo question. The question is, how would you describe this Leaders into Legends coaching experience? But you worked with myself. You also work with Autumn, who Peeps, just so you know, is an assistant coach, marketing strategist, also does some of the deeper work as well. And Lauren was able to work with both of us. So what do you feel, I should say, like I said, how would you describe the coaching experience that you had with us?
Yeah, so I definitely think that there's not, if any, other like business coaching programs that probably have this dynamic, at least none that I've heard of. But it's interesting because like with you, I feel like there's a lot of kind of like the foundational stuff, right? And kind of, building your program, mission, vision, values, and a lot of like the deeper work, and uncovering different patterns that are going to show up in your business, and I feel like Autumn brings in a lot of the like marketing, a lot of the social media and different strategies to use, but she also does, like you said, like the deeper work as well, because there's a lot of things that can hold you back from those strategies and implementing those. So it's really interesting because the dynamic between you two, like it just fits so perfectly in what like everybody needs, and there's was so many people at different levels within their business, which is actually cool, and you guys somehow made it work for everybody. Even though everybody is literally at so many different places within their business, whatever was talked about, whatever was taught, whatever was brought up, it still was relevant to all of us, which was really cool.
Hell yeah. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
You're
so
welcome.
much. It means a lot. There's definitely a wide range. And that's like the beautiful thing is that everyone comes at a different level personally and professionally. Someone could be really, really great already in their business, but like be really struggling personally. Other people are really, really great personally and struggle professionally, right? And each of them mirrors the issues and the unconscious need to be resolved. So my question to you, my follow-up is this: was there any experience with Autumn that you had that you were like, this was like such a great experience, or like really helped you, or like pushed you to the next level?
Yeah, so Autumn's actually the first person who did parts of memory on me. So if anybody watching this doesn't know what that is, it is a extremely powerful modality that really, really gets into your subconscious, and helps you to anything you have bottled up in here, it's coming out. So that was really, it was really powerful. And after that, I was like, oh my gosh, like what?
Yeah.
Who would have thought that, that would have happened like while talking about marketing strategies?
Right? Which just goes to show what?
That it's just so much like all of your crap is gonna show up. Like it will. So yeah, it was just so, you know, I don't even know the words,
Yeah.
but and yeah, so I was definitely like super powerful in just kind of bringing awareness to why I was kind of like stuck where I was, and her being able to have the tools and to push me to do things that are out of my comfort zone, but that I knew was going to help me grow and expand. So yeah.
Right there, people, I just want you to be aware is why Lauren is successful. Her willingness, she's not resisting those feelings. She has resistance. She's like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. But
Yeah.
she knows and it's going to help her, and she doesn't resist that resistance. She just allows it to be there. And because of that, you were able, I think, to experience the level of depth you needed to stand up in your confident space and start to do these powerful things, like get really big people in your field on your podcast, like share consistent messages, show up powerfully consistently, get on connect and serve calls and sales calls and actually say what you want to say, share the price that you want to share, right? All those things really add up and they come from that. And so I think like that's just such a cool thing that I really believe is a powerful dynamic, is that like everyone that works with POG that's a coach or an assistant coach has the capabilities to do the business stuff and use the business stuff as a lens for us to get clear on what's actually bothering you and stopping you. Because it's whether it's in your sales calls or go ahead, you get some.
Oh, sorry. No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just gonna say, and also just the fact that like you can only go as deep with clients as you go with yourself too. Like that's such a big part of it. Like if you're not doing the inner work, you're not gonna be able to bring that to your clients.
1,000%.
Like it's so important.
And you do it. And I can speak from, and anyone listening who is interested in working with Lauren, I can speak from experience that we've gone
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
multiple times.
We definitely
Here's
have.
my question, like during those experiences, right? Because obviously a lot of people don't understand what's happening, and it's not something that's very easy to explain in a freaking Instagram caption. But
Right.
through these experiences where we're kind of navigating through your subconscious and going a little bit deeper inside of yourself and your psyche, how does that feel during, and how did that feel afterwards?
Um, During, it's I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest, it's a lot. Just, different things that come up that you weren't expecting to come up or that you didn't realize were still um, bothering you or still showing up in different ways. Um, and then at the same time, it's also like just taking bricks out of a book bag. Like if you were carrying a book bag of bricks, it's just like taking them out and just like releasing. So it kind of goes in like this wave of like, oh my gosh, this sucks. This sucks. I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this. To like, okay, it's out. Like I'm at peace. And then like even after the call is where like I think a lot of the magic happens, is when you start to become aware of when those are coming up, and you know how to take care of yourself and to um, meet yourself with compassion when those same situations come up, and really just meeting those parts of you is incredible. And yeah, it's the best way I can describe it. It's definitely like a wave. Like it's 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 difficult, but it's worth it for sure.
Thank you. Because
Yeah.
we can only work with the willing. So anyone who's listening to this who's scared of that, you'd be crazy not to be. Everyone is. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the thing. There are two types of people: those who resist the resistance, and those who are okay with the resistance and just experience it. Right? It's like going on a roller coaster. You can either hate it and try and get off, or you can just say, "I'm on the roller coaster." Ah!
Yeah.
So I love that. Thank you for sharing that. It's so important for us to be transparent with the process because it's not fun sometimes.
Mm-mm.
Not. Sometimes
No.
it's painful and emotional, but you leave with this new emotional awareness about yourself that you take forever. You'll never not have it again. You always will know. So I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And this is my next question is, what about the group, the Leaders in the Legends community, did you personally enjoy the most?
I think just having like just the community itself of having people there to like hype you up, or having people there to, when you're struggling, having people there to lift you up, and always having that community to turn to whenever you have questions, or like we were talking about earlier, there's so many people that are at different levels, so like we all benefit each other so well, because we all have experienced something that somebody else hasn't. So I think that was a really cool dynamic of just always having that support there. I think that's the word, is just always having that support available to you. Um, and everybody is, I think everybody just cares about each other so deeply, regardless of, how close, or if you've ever even met in person. I think we all genuinely and deeply um, care for one another, which is, obviously that feels so comforting to have, especially, this isn't, like we were just talking about, this isn't always an easy journey. So having that support is incredible. So
Thank you for sharing that.
yeah.
I think so too. It's really cool to hear your perspective on it because it there's so much value in a mixed pot. And I think it gets overlooked sometimes.
Hmm.
We have a nice full menu. We got a little bit of everything, and that
Yep.
really gives people perspective. And that perspective helps everyone at different levels. So, because it's all relative in that way. So I love that. Thank you, Bonner.
Yeah.
Uh, my next question is, what do you feel like are your biggest takeaways from this experience?
Um, I think I've probably mentioned some of them, but I think there's a couple. One is just like sitting in your shit. And how important,
Hit the diaper, Lauren.
yes, and just like how important that is. And to continue doing it, because we're all, you're never done working on yourself. So how important that is to continue doing that. Letting go of control is another big one that I've learned just through my journey. And just facing that adversity taught me that, I need to let go. I think that was the biggest lesson I learned is I can't control everything. So the more I try to control it.
Let go of what specifically? Was there anything specific that you were like, these things?
Let go of uh, my attachment to the outcome. Let go of any patterns or beliefs that I was still holding on to, that were affecting me. Letting go of control, trying to control when things happen. Um, and I can't think of anything else. I think those were my top three things that I really had to let go of. And just like letting it flow. I know I talked about these things before, but I think those were like my biggest takeaways of just, um, just not making it so hard. Like it really doesn't have to be hard, but I definitely made it hard.
Going easy on yourself for being a freaking rookie in a
Yeah,
game you've never played before that has a ton of new components.
right.
Like learning how to
Definitely.
walk. I mean, trying to yelling at yourself when you're a baby because you don't know how to walk yet seems pretty stupid.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that was a big one of just, you know, not being so hard on myself and not essentially just causing my own struggle. You know?
Yeah. Being a cheerleader for yourself instead of the critic.
Yeah. Which is like it's so interesting because um I think I mentioned this earlier of like thinking or like convincing yourself that you've healed of something. I think that was like another wake up call. I
Can't get
actually
by
think that I
us.
what'd you say?
Can't get it by us. We know.
No.
We know when you're lying, people. We know.
Yeah. So yeah. Definitely realizing that like there was a lot there still is a lot of things that, I'm still working through and that was like a big lesson for me is like always continuing to work on myself and how important that is and how it plays out like in business too.
And also giving yourself permission that it's a wave. So some days you're going to be like, well, I need to work on myself today in this way. And other days you're going to be ready to play offense and build your business. And that you don't have to sit into the cycle of, well, I have to sit in my shit. So I'm only going to do that. And I'm
Right.
even on days where I'm not, I'm still doing it. Right. Because then that becomes a crutch. It's
Mhm.
just like you said, giving yourself permission to just not need the crutches and just flow with the experience. Right. It's literally riding a bike. It's changing from constantly changing the different types of training wheels to just like being open to just using your own body weight to balance you, trusting that you can do that. And you've done that masterfully. So I just wanted to acknowledge you for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And the final question is really this: just if there's anything else that you want to share about the experience or just something on your heart, anything at all that you want to share with those people who are watching that may be interested in working with us or just want to hear more about you or whatever, feel free.
Yeah, I definitely think that you won't find this dynamic uh, in any other type of business coaching, to be honest. I've never heard of it. Um, and if you are somebody who's, willing to do the inner work and you can see from the conversations that you're listening to and other, interviews Graham has done, you can see, you're going to be able to tell the difference between somebody who has done that inner work, a coach who has done that inner work and a coach who hasn't. And it just plays such a huge role, and especially in this program too. And yeah, if I think like somebody who's just getting into coaching, somebody who has been coaching for a long time, like anybody can really benefit from joining. Like I said, there's so many different levels of people, and the support system and just the energy behind it. It's just I just don't think anybody will ever I don't think anybody there's anything else like this, that any other type of business coaching that's like this. You get like a mix of life coaching and business coaching. So you get like a 2-in-1. So it's pretty great.
Amen. Thank you, Lauren.
You're welcome.
Where can people find you if they want to get in touch with you, connect with you, learn about you, work with you?
You can find me on Instagram. My name is Nourishful Soul, NOURISHFULLSOUL. And on there, like I have a podcast it's on there too. It's called Nourish Your Soul. And that's really kind of where you can reach out to me if you want to follow me or if you're interested in working with me. That's where to find me
If you feel called.
if you feel called.
And that's the last thing, and what you said, which I think is just so awesome, is for people who are interested or curious, etc. 3 things that I need, and I've been telling everybody this, and Lauren knows at this point because she asks her people this, right? Because it's some of the stuff that I teach, obviously, is how to do the connect and serve process or our version of the sales process. But one is the calling that like I just feel intuitively pulled to you, right? 2 is the awareness that you're someone that can help me, that I know that I need help. If you don't think you need any help, then you're good. And I meet people like that all the time because they're not willing. You alluded to that. And that's why you're where you're at. You knew you needed help. And you also knew that I could help you and that we could help you. So it was like, okay, cool. I feel called. I also feel like I could use help and I know I need help and I know this person can help me. And the third is the surrender to be like, hey, you know what? I'm willing to do whatever you ask me to do. If I believe you can help me, I'm going to surrender to the fact. I'm going to learn from you and just sit in that. And so I just wanted to share that and acknowledge you for that because you did it so well. And because of that, I think that the skill set you have in reference to the amount of time you spent working on your business so far in your life is crazy. Like your skill for the actual duration of time you've been in business is nuts. Like you're so far ahead. Like imagine if college was like this. Like
Right.
after the first year, not even a full year, you were already doing it and confident. What a world that would be.
Right.
Oh wait, that's what we're doing for business and for coaching. So peeps, if you want to learn how to do this, right? If you want to how to be an engineer, go to college, learn. If you want to learn how to be a coach, come to Leaders and Legends and we'll teach you how to do this. And you'll leave with skills like Lauren Shugarts has with her whole world, all these things. And most importantly, just feeling the best you ever felt about yourself. And not yeah. All right, dude. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I can't wait to see you at the retreat. It's going to be epic. If you peeps don't already know, we have a 9-day retreat going down in August. It's going to be amazing. We have like 20 people coming. But last but not least, what do we got today, Lauren?
I kind of want to say, just because this is a big lesson, this is what it started off with. Just, I do what I want.
Ooh, on you on 3.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
I do what I want. Oh, come on. Let's go. We got Lauren Shugarts in the house, peeps. This is a legend is born. She's right in front of us. Follow her, check her out. If you're interested in working with her, she's right there. And thank you so much, Lauren, for just being a legend, always showing up, being willing, and just giving yourself the space and grace to rise up to this new level of being in this new presence. And I'm grateful. I can't wait to meet you and at the retreat in a few months. And as always, be good, be safe. Much love, everyone. Peace, peace. Use your gifts, serve one world. Lauren's find a way. Legends find a way.